Hi guys. All right, so for this video, we're going to talk about something called one-point perspective. And all perspective means in art is things that are further away from you get smaller and things that are closer to you are bigger. Okay, and this happens in the real world. Like you can see it when you're driving down the road. If you look at a car next to you, it's quite large. And then you look down the street and the car down there is not the same as the car right beside you. It's a little bit smaller, and that's called perspective. So there are a lot of different forms, I guess, of perspective. So there's like 2-point, 3-point, all that. But we're going to start with one point. It's the most simple one, and I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to show you a finished example. Ignore this. This is from the last video. But this down here is 1-point perspective. And maybe you can figure out why it's called 1 point. I'll give you a few seconds. Why it's called 1-point perspective. It's because right here, there's one dot. That's our vanishing point. One dot right in the middle. So when there's like 2-point perspective and 3-point, you have more dots. So this is just 1 point, okay? Yours doesn't have to look like this when you're done. This is just an example. I'm going to be doing it on a whiteboard. So hopefully it's a little easier. But yeah, this is just a very simple example. And you can do as many as you want. The more you do, like the more you practice, the better you get at it, okay? So my whiteboard, what I want you to do first is use a ruler, use something with a straight edge, so like a notebook or a piece of paper. I didn't, so mine's a little wonky. I want you to draw like in the middle-ish of your paper, draw a horizontal line, so line going side to side. Try to make it as straight as you can, and then do one dot in the middle. You don't have to make it huge, but just make sure that you can see it. Okay, and once you have that, we're gonna start off pretty simple and then we can get into more complicated shapes. I want you to draw, I'm drawing it real quick. Ooh, that's, it's a little wonky. Draw a square off above the dot, so above the vanishing point, off to the left. And this, it really, really helps if you have a ruler or something that's straight. I'm gonna try to freehand it, so don't judge me. All right, so what you're gonna do, once you got your square, we go to the corners of the square. So you're gonna, let's start at this corner real quick. And you're gonna go to the corner and you're gonna draw a line, a straight line, not a curved line, not a wiggly, a ziggly, zigzag, whatever, a straight line connecting it to that dot. Okay, I'm gonna try real quick. Mine will most likely be a little crooked. It's okay. It's a little off. If you can hear my cat, he's trying to cuddle, but that's not happening. Okay, so that corner to the dot. Say hi. Okay, bye. So now we're gonna come to this corner and same thing with the dot. Now this line's gonna be a little different because it's still to be straight, but the angle will be different because this corner is a little bit closer to the dot than that one was. So I'm gonna try it better this time. Yeah. And I totally messed up my first line, but that's okay. It's not supposed to look like that. It's supposed to be a little separated. All right, so we got our 2 bottom corners. We're gonna do 1 more corner. You only do 3. And that's gonna be this top right one up here. So same thing, connect that to the dot. Okay, so this is probably the trickiest thing for students to understand. And it's kind of hard for me to explain. So what we got now, let's say, can you tell? Look at it real quick. We're gonna do something in a second that might help you see it. But doesn't it kind of look like the square or the cube is getting smaller and smaller the further back you go? What we're about to do might help you see it. So what we need to do is, I call it, I don't know the actual term, if there is one, I call it cutting it off to my students when I teach this. We're gonna cut the cube off so that it doesn't go all the way to the point. So what we're gonna do, let's start on between these 2 lines right here. We're gonna make a horizontal line, just like this one. It's gonna be the bottom of the cube. So this is when you determine how long or short you want it to look. So I'm gonna do like a medium. I'm gonna come about, hopefully, yeah, you see. Come about right here. And as best as you can, you want to try to match this line right there. All right, so now we're gonna do the side of the cube. Now this line needs to go straight up and down. Why? Because it needs to match this line, going straight up and down. Again, not a curve, not a wiggly, a zigzag, straight line, straight up and down. Now this is when students they go like this, because it's hard to understand at first until you practice a lot. That line is not going straight up and down like this line. We need it to go straight up and down. And also, I didn't say, you want it to connect to this little point and then go all the way up to about right there, okay? I'm gonna try to show you. Okay, you want to go straight up and down. And then if you have an eraser, or if you did it on the whiteboard, that'd be cool too. What we're gonna do, we're just gonna erase the extra lines because we don't really need them anymore. So now when you look at it, it should kind of seem like it's going further back. It's getting further away from you, kind of like buildings. Buildings do this, and actually my next video, we're gonna make a little town, a city using this. Okay, so that's our first one. We're gonna do quite a few. I'm gonna try to keep it short. And you can do whatever kind of shapes you want. Let's keep it squares and rectangles for a little while. So we're gonna do a rectangle next. Let's maybe come over this side. Wow, let me draw it straight first. I'll be right back. Ding! Why is that crooked? I even erased it and started it over. Okay, do a better one than this one. Just a rectangle. And we're gonna do the same thing we did to the cube. It's just gonna be the opposite side. Okay, so let's start at this corner. Is that straight? No, I made it wiggly. We need to try to make it as straight as we can. That's a little bit better. All right, I have a little thingy thing on the side for light, so a ring light. Sorry if you can see it. All right, and then we're gonna come to this corner, straight to the point. Pretty good. And then last corner, remember we don't do all 4 corners, we only do 3. Last corner up here, I know I'm gonna mess this one up. So. All right, so again, now we're gonna cut it off. I don't know the correct term. So we're gonna just draw 2 more lines. You're gonna draw a horizontal, whoops. You're gonna do a horizontal line matching that one, and then up and down line matching this one, okay? So you decide how long or short you want it. I'm gonna make mine pretty long. You see? And make sure that straight up and down line is straight up and down, okay? So then we're gonna erase the little extra lines because we don't need them. And boom, there we go. So in my, the one I showed you in the beginning, I did a heart and a triangle. Before you do that, I want you to keep practicing. Do like 4 or 5 more squares or rectangles. Actually, I lied. We're gonna do 1 more square and we're gonna do it on the bottom so that you can see what it looks like. It's basically the same thing that we did on the top. It's just instead of going down, you're gonna draw your lines going up to the dot, okay? So I'm gonna draw a square. Square. All right. And boom, boom, boom. These 3 corners, draw a straight line going to that vanishing point. Oh, that's probably my best one yet. I don't know why drawing all this whiteboard is so hard for me. All right, so see, it's the same thing. It's just going up to the dot instead of coming down. And like before, we're gonna cut it off. And so we need to do a horizontal line like this one. So do like right there, somewhat straight. And then a up and down line just like this one. Not crooked, not sideways, straight up and down. Okay, and then we just erase these extra lines. Okay, now really quick before my video gets too long, I'm gonna show you how to do a heart. And a heart's a little tricky because it really only has 1 point, and that point is at the bottom. So I'm gonna draw a heart. Still, I'm on the bottom. That's a really ugly heart. Please forgive me. Draw a cuter heart. So there is only one point and it's at the bottom. So what you do when you draw a heart or like a circle, because you still can do it with those shapes, instead of going to a point or a corner, because there isn't one, you go to the side. So the curved side of it. So what I mean is, let's come over here. We're gonna start about right here, maybe a little higher, and you're just gonna, so it's not a corner or a point. We're just gonna come to the top little curve of it. And then for this one, maybe about somewhere like right there, and then connect it to the dot. You want it to like look smooth. Okay, I don't think, I was trying to think if I could connect that to it, because sometimes you can depending on how far you draw it, but I don't think I can. All right, so then when you cut it off, instead of doing a like a straight line, the top of the heart is curved. It's got little, so we need to do that. We need to match, we need to match this little, almost like an M kind of thing. So decide how far away you want it to go, and it's going to be smaller. You're not going to draw this part as big. You're going to draw it smaller because it's perspective. So it gets smaller. I'm going to fix that. Okay. That's as good as I'm going to get it. I kept messing up. This one that I drew up here is much, much better. So I'm going to show you this one instead. I'll try to bring it close. So my nice big heart, and instead of connecting to any corners, because there aren't any, you just find the side curve, go to the dot, top curve, go to the dot, and then these little parts have to be curved as well. It has to match this. Okay, this one was better than the one that I did on the whiteboard, so I'm actually going to erase that. All right, so the next one I'm going to show you real quick is a triangle. Triangle is super, super, super easy. So draw a nice big triangle. And for this, you're going to connect just 2 points. So one less. So the top point, straight line to the dot. And then this point down here, straight line to the dot, or the vanishing point. Boom, boom. So now, like I said before, when we cut it off, we need to match the line. So this is a straight line, but it's not vertical or horizontal. It's a diagonal line. So it's like it's leaning. So you need to match that line like right there. I'm gonna try to do it looking in the, oh, no, that's not gonna happen. Okay, so about right there. And then erase your lines, your extra lines, the ones we don't need. Yay! So that was that. That was just me showing you. Hopefully you created a lot more kind of like this right here, if not more. Because the more you practice, the better you get at anything in life ever, including art and drawing. And there's a really cool thing when I teach this. I teach this every year, every semester with my students. What we do after we learn how to do this is we actually draw our name. Now it has to be done in bubble letter. So if you don't know how to do bubble letter, either look it up, like you can Google bubble letters and try to copy. But if you don't know how to do bubble letter, just stick to normal shapes. But if you do know how to do bubble letter, it can look pretty cool, and it'll look like your name is going back and getting smaller and smaller. So that was that. That's this. I hope you liked it. I hope you tried it. Because our next video will be stemming from this. So you'll have had to practice this before we get to the next one. Okay? But yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.